Yeah, I sort of want to talk about boomer economics. And when we talk about boomer economics, you're really talking about the religion of modern day America. It's completely anti-Christian. It's completely uniform. It's all the same. Like the religion of a crackhead, or the religion of communist, or the religion of the progressives. It's actually the same as the boomer religion. And it's shown in all boomers. You listen to the boomers' take on economics, which is the religious position of the Catholic Church. It's the same, what the Bible describes as evil, that's Catholics to the T. It's not some Catholics. All of the things that the Bible describes as evil is the Catholics. Examples is like infinite. All the negative things of evil applies to all the Catholics. But to make it real simply clear, when you think about like the tax collectors and the prostitutes and the liars and the slanderers and the gossipers, you're describing every Catholic in every community. That's the gossipers, that's the tax collectors. When you think about 2016, when they were forcing, lockdowns, the tax collectors were doing this. It was all the, inbred families who were holier than thou. They're censoring and lying, and they're in with God. They're in with the God of the world, and that's it. There's nothing else matters. That's the boomers' perspective. If you talk to the boomers, their imagining of the world was so good, and the modern generation ruined it all. And you listen to the boomers describe how valid they are, and how special, and how integral they are. They're such good people, which is not true. They're saying these bloviated things that aren't true. And what they're not counting is reality, which is God. Okay? It's like the world we live in today is not the world they ruined 50 years ago. That's quite simple. But you're not going to discuss this with these people. And it's just an endless list of these people. You can just watch them on the internet talking their half-truths and nonsense and really narcissistic corruption. That's what the boomers is, narcissistically corrupt. But you can't criticize them, just like you can't criticize the new generation, because the new generation is just a continuation of the boomer generation. That's when the CIA took over policy and propaganda and medias. That's it. And it's a full lockdown. What they're doing now is just anybody who's not boomer-minded is being, murdered by the technocrats. That's what's going on right now. It's pretty obvious, but the censors are hiding what's obvious. And there's so many obvious things the censors are hiding. And one of the big thing is everybody is a murderous scoundrel. Two-faced, selfish, sycophant to whatever needs to be said. The people are just going along to get along. That's an animal herd. That's what the population of America, you cannot deny in reality they're genocidal. The population of America, you cannot deny, concretely, they're democidal. Okay, so in America, they're killing the civilians. Who? All of the people. They're all complicit. If you want to talk about this topic and look at the talking heads who are talking about it, they're really skirting around the major issues, and they're trying to enrich themselves. So they're kind of sitting on the fence about all the topics. Like literally, there are obvious things that are taking place, and from a rational humane standpoint, there is a position to take. No, they're not taking that position. They're saying, hey, buy my book. You can be a ninja. You can hide in the shadows. You could become very charismatically unified or harmonized and do what I do. And that's not going to solve, the people's, troubles. We have like a population on the earth. Not everybody's good people. That's a fact. But you look at what the technocrats are all about. It's just murder for money and progress. They're trying to evolve into the greatest murderer of all time. And that's like the world politic. But listen to the boomers, that's no different. If you listen to the boomers, take on all things ergonomically and socially, it's the same corruption. And you're not going to discuss it with them because they don't believe in that. They believe in slander and imagination. Their magical lies are truth, and you can't tell them otherwise. They're going to get very offended, And they're going to side right with the technocrats and have you murdered. That's what's going to happen if you try to tell the truth to these people. They'll side right with the technocrats and right for murder. That's like their go-to strategy for all things. It's not a few people, it's essentially everybody. And then you go back to the Bible and then take the biblical words for what they mean, because this is the time for that. Those people they can tell you they're Bible adherent people, but they're equally as evil as the faithless and the godless and all the other murderers. But then now take what the Bible's actually saying and recognize this is the time for that. It's not the many, it's the very few who can hear that message.